So none of my audio really turned out very good. I don't think I had the right case on the GoPro, and I actually had with this adventure, I had probably 2 hours worth of footage, and I ended up thinking that maybe the best thing to do would be put together a short clip of just the mines, and then later maybe upload the ghost town type part if people wanted to see that. But I figured the mines would probably be by far the most interesting. This first shaft, we actually completely missed it the first time we came by because there were some guys in a Nissan pickup parked right in front of it. And when we had gone by them, they acted like they were getting ready to leave really fast. I didn't quite understand why. Maybe they thought we were property owners or somebody that was going to run them off. Um, but the floor of this mine shaft looked like, or mine tunnel, I guess, looked like it had tracks running into it at one point. It goes left and right here, but those are very short, probably 10 feet, little tunnels that end up ending. I think right now we're talking about marking our path for the main tunnel, even though we really didn't need to because this was such a short spot. And I have no idea what ore is on this, what ore is in here either. A lot of times, like where I just cut the footage, it's just because nothing really happened. There's just sitting there, or not a lot, not anything entertaining happened or occurred. Um, there's pretty decent headroom in this mine, I remember that. There wasn't a whole lot of water either. I know there was just that one puddle back there. For me, it's been really hard to film and get any kind of footage that does any justice to what we're really seeing on the GoPro. So if anybody has suggestions, I'm open. Besides the suggestions of, hey, go kill yourself, I'm open to suggestions. This is another left and right tunnel. The left hardly goes anywhere. The right goes off a ways. So in front of us right now is a collapse. You can see one of the main beams right there. And we spend a little bit looking at it. It looks like it got really wet, and then the material broke the wood down and it collapsed, kind of did like a mudslide type thing. We'll end up going in that in a minute. But first we take the easier path just to see where this goes. I try and keep the exploring footage like this a little bit more intact and not cut it up as much, because I think sometimes people enjoy being able to watch this, even though right now it looks like somebody's got a flashlight and they're just shining it on a wall. But it gives a little bit better perspective, I think, of what's going on. I think right now, yeah, that's marked turnaround, and then there's some weird lines that we weren't quite able to figure out. Um, yeah, and we go a little bit further in here. Up here, this had looked like, to me, it had been purposely filled. It did not look like a collapse or anything. It looked like somebody got gravel and just started filling in. And I'm sure it was probably for liability reasons, although some of the other areas we went, I don't quite know. So there's, that's the handing off of the keys in case me going up in this collapse gets me killed or I get stuck or something. That way, whoever's with me doesn't have to sit and pull the keys off my body or try and figure out how to get the keys and dig me out and get the keys when they can go and maybe get help. This is a pretty rural area, so I don't think this footage really does this area justice, but back in there there's a bunch of wooden beams and most of them are broken off and they look very, very shoddy. Like it looked like you could get further back in there, but boy did it look, to me it threw too many red flags at once. Um, a lot of the rock right in this area where the collapse was looked like it was cracked or looked like it was very loose. Maybe that's why it collapsed, huh? Um, so anyways, I end up sliding back out. I end up determining that that is not a path that should be pursued, in my opinion. Right now, I think we're just talking about what I just said. Yeah, I mentioned the beam, the broken half right there. And I believe we're working our way back out. Again, not a ton to see, but I guess just interesting at least to see where it went. I'm just talking about that one part I crawled in where it looked like a more traditional mine with the wooden beams on each side holding up everything, and how most of them looked like they were broken or rotten very badly, and I don't think the footage really reflects that. And this main part of the shaft did look very, very sturdy compared to that area with the wooden beams. And obviously it wasn't all collapsed. So we're almost back out. Back to reality, back to life. Okay. So this area was actually, let me back up. When we found a path that we were hiking, and we found a really old beer can that looked like, I don't know, it was one of the ones where you use a special opener that pops that kind of triangle hole in them. And we'd followed that path, and that path had kind of ended, but it had some steel cable. And down below, lower on the hill, there was kind of like a tramway, or what was left of it. So we thought if we followed that steel cable, that might lead us to something more interesting. And it led us kind of to this area that was all broken up. Um, I wasn't 100% sure what this was. I thought this might have been an air shaft of some kind, but it looked like it was full. Um, I'm just have some random footage just to see how it turns out at 1080p when it's rendered. Okay, so over here we found the John. Three-man John. Looked like it was actually in pretty good shape, all things considered. Oh, yeah, no shame. We'll look in the 200-year-old John, see if there's anything in there. Okay, so this is another shaft we found. And this one, if you look in kind of the center, the left, there is a tube for ventilation. And this one was collapsed pretty bad. Yeah, you can see I was trying to collapse it in on myself here, try and figure out how bad this shaft was. It still had the tracks in it, and this was up by those buildings we found, so we figured this was a much higher traffic mine when it was back in operation. Um, I cut a little bit of footage. It was just me trying to go in and different things. This mine was really dark, really damp compared to the previous one. I mean, I ended up going back in there, and the flashlight was like, it was almost not even on. Um, Probably 15 feet in, there was a small collapse. Another 25 feet in, there was another collapse, and it was super moist. The ground was really almost muddy. I just figured this one was not a good one to continue on in. Um, then we get back out. Okay, so we're on our third mine right now. Um, yeah, this one was pretty badly collapsed. The timbers up on top looked like they were warped just from water damage and different things. And this is kind of right outside there. There's an old mine cart. The thing to the right is actually a fridge. I don't think the footage does that justice. This is an old Pepsi can I found. It looked like it was probably from the 80s. So looking at what we're getting into here. This one was partially collapsed, in case you couldn't tell. That means you might as well go in it, right? It's got to be safe if it's partially collapsed. So this one was kind of weird. I didn't follow it straight because it looked like it just had ended. Like it looked like there's a little cavern type area we're in right now, and then it goes to the left. And I don't think the footage really reflects that, but it goes to the left, and there's a shaft that was collapsed. That was it was at a weird angle. It was like a 75-degree angle. So I mean, if it hadn't been collapsed, you could very easily, if you weren't paying attention, walk along and slide down that shaft. There's a fair amount of bugs in this one, and there was some standing water. But it was not like the other one. The previous mine shaft I showed you had, I don't know, just a lot of humidity, a lot of darkness. This ends up off of that cavern type area. It kind of cuts off to the right and goes down a ways, but I don't even think the footage really does that. And then I end up turning around and coming back after it ends. So again, if you guys would like to see some more of this footage, please like and subscribe.